Let me ask you a powerful question. If your 80-year-old self could come back and thank you for just 5 choices you made this year, what would they be? It's not a question we ask ourselves often, but maybe it should be. Because research shows that when people reach the end of their lives, they rarely talk about money status or possessions. Instead, they reflect on the simple decisions, the choices that shape their happiness, their relationships, and their peace of mind. In fact, hospice workers across the U.S. hear the same pattern again and again. Patients don't regret the risks they took or the love they expressed. What they do regret are the things they never did, the love they never shared, the experiences they put off, the health they neglected, and the connections they let slip away. And here's the kicker. These regrets are avoidable. That's what today's video is about. I want to share with you the 5 things people never regret doing before they die. Decisions backed by end-of-life confessions and long-term happiness studies. These aren't abstract theories. They're real-life lessons from people who have lived the full journey and looked back with clarity. And here's the twist, they're surprisingly simple. Anyone can do them. You can do them. But most of us put them off, waiting for the right time, only to realize that time never actually comes. So here's my challenge for you: stay with me until the end of this video. Because once you see these 5 choices clearly, you'll understand how small daily actions can add up to a life you'll look back on with gratitude, not regret. Imagine yourself years from now, smiling at the memories you created, the love you gave, and the dreams you pursued, not weighed down by what-ifs. That future starts today, and it starts with 5 choices. Let's dive in. The very first thing you will never regret doing before you die is this: investing in your relationships. Let's be honest, we live in a culture that glorifies individual success. We measure our worth by promotions, paychecks, and possessions. But when people reach the end of their lives, they rarely talk about the size of their house or how many hours they spent at the office. What they talk about, their most common confession, is love, the family they built, the friendships they cherished, or sadly the connections they neglected. And that tells us something powerful: relationships are the real currency of a meaningful life. In fact, one of the longest studies on happiness, conducted at Harvard for more than 80 years, found a simple but profound truth: people who are most satisfied in their relationships are not only happier, they're healthier and live longer. That's right. Strong relationships literally protect both your mind and your body. They reduce stress, boost immunity, and even guard against memory decline in old age. No bank account or business title can promise you that. But here's the challenge. Relationships don't just maintain themselves. They require intentional effort, and in our busy, screen-driven world, it's easy to let them slide. Maybe you've told yourself, "I'll call my parents later." Maybe you've skipped dinner with your spouse because of another late-night meeting. Or maybe you've lost touch with an old friend and keep saying, "I'll reach out soon." But weeks turn into months, and months into years, until one day you realize that someday never came. That's why I want to challenge you to create simple, repeatable habits that anchor your connections. Start with something small, like a weekly family dinner. No phones, no distractions, just time to eat together, talk, and laugh. Or try what I like to call the Friday 5 rule. Every Friday, send a quick text or message to 5 people you care about. It doesn't have to be long, just a simple "thinking of you" or "hope your week went well." You'd be surprised how powerful even a short check-in can be. And here's another: each month, make the effort to reconnect with one old friend. Scroll through your contacts, find someone you've lost touch with, and just reach out. One message can reopen a door that's been closed for years. These little practices don't take much time, but they add up to something priceless, a life rich in connection. Of course, we also have to talk about the mistakes to avoid. The biggest trap is letting work creep in where relationships should be. Answering emails at the dinner table, scrolling through your phone instead of listening or postponing that visit to your parents because of another urgent task. The truth is, most of those urgent tasks won't matter 5 years from now, but the time you spend or don't spend with your loved ones will echo for the rest of your life. Another mistake is believing that relationships don't need nurturing once they're strong. Even the closest bonds fade without attention. Imagine a garden. If you don't water it, weeds take over. Relationships are the same. They thrive on presence, consistency, and care. And maybe you're thinking, but my relationships are complicated. My family isn't perfect. My friends are busy. Of course they are. Everyone's life is messy. But connection isn't about perfection. It's about showing up. Even flawed relationships can bring comfort, healing, and joy when we make the effort. Here's something I want you to reflect on. If you were sitting at age 80, looking back on your life, who would you want sitting beside you? Who are the people whose absence would leave you with the deepest ache? Start investing in those relationships today. Don't wait until retirement or until things calm down, because life rarely does. And here's the beauty: you don't have to make grand gestures. A handwritten note, a 10-minute call, sitting down to share a meal. These simple choices are the ones people never regret. Nobody on their deathbed says, "I wish I had scrolled more." But countless people say, "I wish I had spent more time with the people I love." So if you take just one lesson from this first no-regret choice, let it be this: relationships are not extra, they are essential. Invest in them now, and your future self will thank you 1,000 times over. Because at the end of the day, life isn't about the trophies on your shelf. It's about the hands you held, the memories you built, and the love you gave away freely. That's the kind of wealth you'll never regret. The second thing you'll never regret doing before you die is this: taking care of your health. It sounds simple, almost obvious. Yet when people reach the end of their lives, this regret comes up again and again. I wish I had taken better care of myself. Why? Because when health fades, almost everything else in life becomes harder. Dreams get put on hold, relationships suffer, independence slips away. And suddenly, all the things we thought were important, career milestones, material possessions, even money, don't matter nearly as much as the ability to move, to breathe easily, or to wake up with energy. Research consistently shows that people with healthy habits not only live longer, but live better. They enjoy more mobility, sharper minds, and higher levels of happiness. The Harvard Study of Adult Development, one of the longest-running studies on life satisfaction, found that while relationships were the #1 predictor of happiness, physical health ran close behind. Without health, even the best relationships and dreams can be overshadowed by pain, fatigue, or illness. Taking care of your health is about more than avoiding disease. It's about protecting your freedom. The freedom to travel when you retire. The freedom to play with your kids and grandkids. The freedom to keep pursuing passions well into your later years. Here's the good news: building a healthier life doesn't require perfection. It's about consistent, simple actions that compound over time. Move your body daily. Even a 20-minute walk can improve circulation, boost mood, and lower the risk of chronic disease. You don't need a gym membership or fancy equipment. Just put on your shoes and start walking. Prioritize sleep. Going to bed and waking up around the same time each day helps regulate your body's rhythms, strengthens your immune system, and sharpens focus. Sleep is not a luxury. It's a form of daily repair. Eat smarter, not stricter. Instead of obsessing over diets, focus on balance. A simple rule of thumb: fill half your plate with vegetables. Add lean proteins and whole grains. This isn't about restriction, it's about nourishment. Get regular checkups. Preventive care saves lives. An annual physical can catch problems early when they're easier to treat. Too many people ignore this until it's too late. These may sound small, but they add up to years, sometimes decades, of extra life and quality living. Of course, there are pitfalls we should avoid, the all-or-nothing trap. Many people start an extreme diet or intense workout plan only to burn out and quit. Health is a marathon, not a sprint. Progress beats perfection. Stress eating and emotional habits. Food becomes comfort when life feels overwhelming. But over time, it drains energy and harms health. Learning to manage stress through movement, mindfulness, or hobbies is far healthier. Ignoring early warning signs. Chest pain, fatigue, or unusual symptoms often get brushed aside. But regret comes fast when small signals turn into major health crises. Listening to your body and acting early can save your life. Maybe you've seen this up close. A family member who worked hard their whole life only to spend retirement in and out of hospitals. Or a friend who ignored symptoms until it was too late. Stories like these are sobering, but they also carry a gift. They remind us that we have a choice right now to live differently. And here's the thing, taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's one of the most loving things you can do for the people around you. When you're healthy, you show up better as a parent, a partner, a friend. You have more patience, more energy, and more presence to give. So let me ask you, what small choice could you make today? To honor your health, could you swap one soda for a glass of water? Could you set your phone down and go to bed 30 minutes earlier? Could you take a walk instead of scrolling through your feed? The truth is, it doesn't take much. Tiny habits stacked daily become a lifestyle. And that lifestyle becomes your future. At the end of your life, you won't wish you had eaten more fast food, worked longer hours, or skipped more doctor's visits. But you might wish you had taken your health seriously while you still had the chance. You'll never regret the walk you took, the water you drank, the night you chose rest over endless scrolling. You'll never regret the doctor's appointment that caught something early. These are the choices that extend your time, expand your joy, and protect your freedom. Health isn't about looking perfect. It's about building a body that supports the life you want to live. And that's something your 80-year-old self will thank you for over and over again. So don't wait until it's too late. Start today. Your future self is counting on you. The third thing you'll never regret doing before you die is this: creating and contributing. When people look back on their lives, they often realize that the things which brought them the deepest joy weren't trophies, titles, or applause. It wasn't about being the most popular in the room or earning the biggest paycheck. What mattered most was the meaning they found in their work and the joy of creating something with their own hands or mind, and the fulfillment of contributing to the lives of others. Think about it. How many times have you achieved something, a promotion, a big purchase, a recognition, and felt happy, but only for a short while? Achievements can be satisfying, but the feeling often fades quickly. What lasts are the moments when you created something meaningful or gave back in a way that touched another person's life. Psychologists call this intrinsic motivation, the joy of doing something for its own sake, not for the reward. Studies show that people who focus on meaning and contribution report higher levels of well-being and less regret later in life. That's because meaning feeds the soul in ways that external rewards simply can't. There's something deeply human about the act of creating. Whether it's writing a story, painting a picture, building a business, or planting a garden, creation brings life to ideas that once only existed in your imagination. You don't have to be a professional artist or a best-selling author to feel this joy. The simple act of carving out time to create, even if nobody else ever sees it, gives a sense of purpose and identity that no job title can replace. Imagine your 80-year-old self looking back. Would they regret the imperfect painting you made? The book draft that never got published? The business idea you tried that didn't fully succeed? But they might regret never trying at all. Equally important is contribution, what you give to others. Research shows that helping others not only boosts their lives, it actually improves your health, lowers stress, and increases your sense of meaning. Psychologists call this the helper's high. Think about times when you volunteered, mentored, or simply gave your time and attention to someone in need. Those are moments that stick with you, moments you can look back on with pride. People at the end of their lives rarely regret giving too much. They regret not giving enough. So how do you weave creation and contribution into your life without feeling overwhelmed? Start small. 1 hour a week for creativity. Block out just 60 minutes, no distractions, no phone. Use it to write, paint, build, brainstorm, or pursue whatever creative spark excites you. Over time, those hours add up to projects, memories, and personal growth you'll never regret. Create before it's perfect. Don't wait until you're ready. The truth is, you'll never feel ready. Start messy. Publish the blog post. Share the song. Launch the idea. Done is better than perfect. Mentor someone once a quarter. Whether it's a younger coworker, a student, or a neighbor, share your experience. The ripple effect of mentorship often outlives us, carried on in the lives of those we've guided. Volunteer once a season. Pick one day every few months to step into your community. Serve at a food pantry, join a cleanup, or donate your time to a cause that matters to you. Even small acts can shift perspectives, yours and theirs. Of course, there are pitfalls. Perfectionism. Many people hold back from creating because they want it to be flawless. But perfection is the enemy of progress. The only way to create something meaningful is to start, even if it's imperfect. Endless planning. Some people get stuck in someday mode forever, sketching out ideas but never taking action. At the end of life, nobody wishes they had planned more. They wish they had started sooner. Chasing titles instead of impact. Climbing the ladder isn't wrong, but if the ladder is leaning against the wrong wall, success can feel empty. Focus less on titles and more on the impact of your work. I want you to imagine yourself decades from now, looking back on your life. Would you feel proud that you created something uniquely yours? Would you smile at the thought of people you helped along the way? Or would you feel the sting of never giving your ideas a chance, of never stepping into someone else's shoes to lift them up? Here's what I know your future self will never regret: the messy journal entries, the imperfect songs, the afternoons spent mentoring, or the Saturdays you gave to service. But they may regret staying silent, staying safe, or staying too busy to contribute. So let me ask you right now, what's one small thing you could create this week? And who's one person you could help in the next 90 days? Write it down. Better yet, commit to it in the comments. Because saying it out loud or typing it makes it real. At the end of your life, the question won't be, did I make it to the top? It will be, did I make something meaningful? Did I make a difference? And when you answer yes, because you chose to create and contribute, you'll find a peace that no title or paycheck could ever bring. So start small. Start today. Create something. Contribute somewhere. because your future self won't remember the hours you spent scrolling, but they will remember the moments you spent building, giving, and living with purpose. The fourth thing you'll never regret doing before you die is this: choosing experiences over material possessions. Let's be real. We live in a consumer-driven culture. Ads constantly tell us that happiness is just one purchase away: the new car, the bigger house, the latest phone. And sure, buying things can give you a quick dopamine hit. But here's the truth: possessions fade, break, or lose value over time. Experiences, on the other hand, grow more valuable the older they get. When people look back at the end of their lives, they don't smile thinking about the gadgets they owned. They smile when they remember the road trips, the concerts, the vacations, the spontaneous adventures with friends, or even the quiet afternoons that turned into lasting memories. Research backs this up. Studies from Cornell University show that experiences bring people more long-term happiness than material purchases. Why? Because experiences become part of our identity. That hiking trip isn't just a memory, it's part of who you are now. That cooking class with your partner isn't just an event, it's a chapter in your love story. Experiences weave themselves into the narrative of your life. Material things, on the other hand, depreciate. That new car smell fades. The shiny phone becomes outdated. The house eventually needs repairs. But the memory of laughing under the stars with your best friend, that only gets sweeter with time. The good news is prioritizing experiences doesn't have to be expensive or extravagant. It's about making deliberate choices to create memories. Here are a few practical habits. Plan 12 mini adventures a year. Once a month, do something new. It could be a day trip to a nearby town, a hike on a trail you've never explored, or even trying out a new restaurant or festival in your city. The point is to break the routine and invite novelty into your life. Learn one new skill every 3 months. Sign up for a short class, whether it's painting, cooking, dancing, or photography. Not only will you gain a new skill, but you'll also collect stories, challenges, and laughter along the way. Take one unplugged weekend a year. Step away from social media, emails, and screens. Spend a weekend offline, fully present with yourself or your loved ones. You'll be amazed how refreshing and memorable those 48 hours can become. These habits may seem small, but they stack up to a life filled with color, variety, and connection. Now let's talk about what to avoid. Waiting for the perfect time. So many people put off experiences because they're waiting for more money, more free time, or the right circumstances. But here's the hard truth: the perfect time almost never comes. And if you keep waiting, you may find that the chance to create those memories is gone. Trading experiences for screens. Hours on social media binging shows or endlessly scrolling can trick us into thinking we're entertained. But ask yourself, how many of those hours will you remember 5 years from now? Compare that to a single weekend trip, and you'll see the difference. Think about your own life. What are the moments you remember most vividly? Chances are they're not tied to what you bought, but to what you experienced. Maybe it was the time you traveled with friends, laughed until your stomach hurt, or tried something new that terrified you but made you feel alive. I'll share a quick example. A man once told me that his most cherished memory wasn't the house he bought or the car he drove. It was a camping trip he took with his teenage daughter. They slept under the stars, shared stories by the fire, and even got rained on. But years later, that weekend became their favorite story to retell. That's the kind of wealth experiences give us. So let me ask you, what's one experience you've been putting off? Is it that trip you've always dreamed of? A hobby you've wanted to try? Or maybe just saying yes to something spontaneous? What's stopping you? Imagine your 80-year-old self looking back. Would they thank you for working extra hours to buy another gadget? Or for stepping outside your routine to live fully, even if it was messy and imperfect? At the end of a life, nobody wishes they had bought more stuff. But countless people wish they had traveled more, tried more, experienced more. The laughter, the lessons, the moments, they are the treasures you'll carry forever. So don't wait for the perfect time, because it may never come. Create the moment now. Say yes to the trip. Take the class. Turn off the screen and go explore. Your future self won't regret the money you spent, but they will regret the memories you never made. Choosing experiences over things is really about choosing life itself. It's about stepping into the unknown, embracing the imperfect, and collecting stories you'll be proud to carry with you until the very end. Because in the end, life isn't measured by the things we owned, but by the moments we lived. So here's the truth. Regret is not destiny. It's not something carved in stone. It's simply a choice we either make or avoid. And the 5 choices we've explored in this video, they are within your reach right now. Not next year, not when things are perfect, but today. Think about it. How many times have you told yourself, "I'll start later," only to realize that later never really comes? The people who reach the end of life without regret aren't the ones who had the most money, the biggest titles, or the perfect plan. They're the ones who acted even in small ways when it mattered most. That's why I want to challenge you. Within the next 24 hours, choose one thing from this list and do it. Maybe it's a 20-minute walk. Maybe it's calling someone you love. Maybe it's finally signing up for that class you've been putting off. So here's my question for you. What's the one thing you will commit to doing in the next 24 hours? Don't just think about it. Say it out loud. And even better, write it down in the comments right now. When you declare it publicly, you're much more likely to follow through. In fact, here's a little prompt for you. I commit that in the next 24 hours, I will, arroz, manksnav. Fill in that blank. It could be something tiny. But trust me, tiny steps compound into a life with fewer regrets. And if you're ready to go deeper, I've linked another powerful video for you. 10 regrets most people confess on their deathbed. It's eye-opening, and it will push you to think even harder about the choices you're making today. You can watch it right after this one. The link is right here on the screen and in the description below. Now, before we wrap up, I want you to remember, this regret is not inevitable. It's not about being perfect. It's about being intentional. Every single week, we share practical, powerful ways to build a life that you can look back on with pride, not sorrow. So if you found value here, do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. That way you'll get our weekly insights delivered directly to you, and you'll stay connected with a community of people who are choosing to live with clarity, purpose, and zero regrets. Because at the end of the day, your future self is watching. And the choices you make right now, or the ones you commit to today, will shape the story you tell tomorrow. So don't wait. Pick your one action. Write it in the comments. Watch the next video for deeper insight. And remember, regret is not destiny. It's simply what happens when we forget that today is all we ever have.